Hi, I'm Mia. Welcome to Body of Wisdom Yoga. Class today is a beginner's class. We'll be visiting low lunge, runner's lunge, a little bit of twisting, and finishing off in back bends and shavasana, which is everybody's favorite pose. So for today, a block is super helpful. Blocks come in 3 widths. This is 4-inch, which I really like. 3-inch is, I feel, a bit unstable. And then there's a nice 5-inch block that they make now, which gives a lot of support. So grab your blocks, 2 blocks, because you have 2 arms, and meet me on your mat. So let's begin. Find your 2 blocks. Set them at the front of the mat. Just step your right foot to the front of the mat on the inside of the mat so that your blocks are parallel to your front foot. When you look at your left leg, it's in the line of your hip, and your right leg is in line with your right hip. When you look at your left foot, notice if it's coming in, just try to make it sort of parallel. If your knee is bothering you, you can always put a blanket or towel or something underneath your knee. And there are 3 kinds of blocks. Well, there's lots of blocks out there, but there's basically 3 heights of blocks. A 3-inch block, a 4-inch block, which is what this is, and then a 5-inch block. I always like the 4 or the 5-inch. The 5-inch is a big block. So if you're a big person, tall person, or you feel like you're quite stiff, a bigger block will give you more support, right? So that, again, you're not struggling. So here we are. Hands are on the blocks. There's not a lot of weight, just a little bit of support there. Lift your chest up a bit. And just notice how you feel here. Does this feel like it's a lot of effort? You feel like your shoulders are maybe really up high? Can you just relax your shoulders a little bit? From here, we're going to shift the hips back. You don't have to straighten your leg, and then bend the knee. Just getting some movement in your knee, your hips a little bit. And we'll come into something called half splits. You'll take the blocks, you'll move them back. Move your back knee back, and then flex your right ankle. So when you look at my right foot, this is not flexed. This is pointing, and then we flex. And by flexing, we start to engage the muscles. Notice if your shoulders, again, are up by your ears, just trying to relax. You can have a bend in the knee. Over time, the leg is straight. But you could certainly have a bend in the knee. And then notice if you are rounding your back as though you're trying to get your nose to your knee. Think instead of pulling your sternum to the big toe, so that there's a feeling of longer rather than rounder. There's 3 heights to the blocks. You'll decide what height is right for you. Let's move between pointing and flexing. As you point, an awareness of the front of your leg. As you flex, an awareness of the back of your leg. So we just notice what you're feeling. Good. Flex your ankle. Pull the heel towards you, 4 or 5 inches. Place your foot on the ground. Walk your hands up your leg. Or you could stay here, maybe bring your hands to your hips. You could reach your arms up in the air. Find something to look at. So, an awareness that your eyes are not darting around. You're actually looking at something. And then watch yourself breathing in your body. One of the things that we practice in yoga is being in our bodies, an awareness of being in the body. Bring your hands down to the blocks, and we'll just switch sides. So the right knee comes back. Step your left foot forward. Bend your knee, and just arrange your legs. Lift your chest up a bit, and start to shift back and forth. Yoga doesn't have to be complicated. Don't have to struggle so much. And you can't be good at yoga, right? You can be flexible, but yoga is an internal practice. You can't see it. It's a connection, mind, body, breath. Connecting with yourself. All right, we're shifting back to half splits. I like to move my back knee back and then shift back, flexing the left ankle. We'll move between pointing and flexing. Keep the flexion. And maybe increase this hinging at your left hip as you draw your sternum towards your big left toe. Nice. Lift your chest up a bit. Pull your left heel back. Bend the knee. Walk your hands up your leg. Maybe to the hips. And then when you're ready, reach up with your arms if you'd like. Notice what your feet are doing. If you're gripping, try to open the foot a little bit and maybe push. Bring your hands to the blocks. Step your left knee back. And we'll come to child's pose. So knees as wide as you want. Typically they're about hips distance, maybe wider. Send your hips back as far as you can. Maybe you're up here. That's okay. You can pad underneath your knees. You can pad underneath your ankles. You can roll up a towel behind your knees, which sometimes really feels good on the patella, the front of the knee. So find that and then take your chest down. So child's pose, you can have your elbows bent and your forehead maybe on a block. If it's available, your forehead would come to the floor. Sometimes, even if you can do that, it still feels nice to put it on a block. And there's a more active version of this where you stretch your arms out longer and take your hips further back. But for now, we're just going to relax a bit. Breathe in and out of your nose if that's available. And then we watch. Watch your body breathing. Notice where you feel movement in your body. As you breathe in, maybe a feeling of expansion in your belly or your back, your chest, sides of the ribs. And as you breathe out, a sense of softening, letting go. Couple more breaths here. And this shape is a shape you can always come to in any of your other yoga classes that you take at any time. Come on up to table pose. Table pose is hands and knees. So it's helpful in yoga to have an understanding of what is traditional and then what works for you. And they might align and they might be very different, right? And it's important to know what works for you because you're you and we want you to feel good in your body. So traditionally, you're just knowing that my arms don't straighten. So they just don't straighten. But traditionally, your shoulders are above your wrists. Your hips are above your knees. Your knees are about hips distance apart. And when you look through your knees, you can't see your feet. So this is traditional. Now, if this is too much on the angle of your wrist, right? If this angle is too much, you could take your hands a bit forward, which increases this angle. You could come to your forearms, totally fine. You could bring your forearms on the blocks, which elevates you up a little bit. And also know that you can certainly be here with a little bend in your elbows. So we'll move between cat and cow. Pushing the spine up to the ceiling so your pelvis tucks. Let the head be heavy. Really push the spine up to the ceiling. And then the opposite of that. We hammock the back, lifting the tailbone up, lifting the heart up, open through the throat a little bit, if it's okay on your neck. Push the spine away from you and hammock. We'll do this a couple more times. It's sometimes nicer to close your eyes. Helps you go inside. A couple more. And then we'll start to move in a manner that is sort of organic. So what does that mean? It means moving into those areas that feel good. Maybe big circles. You could do sort of a serpentine action. You could barrel roll your ribs. And these barrel rolls feel really good. There's a bit of a learning curve to them. It's kind of like your ribs are scooping out the inside of a peanut butter jar. You could shift forward and back. And then let's come to child's pose again. Come on up, find your blocks. We'll do what we did before, only a little bit different. Step the right foot forward in line with the blocks. From here, we tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee up. This is called runner's lunge. Keeping your feet where they are, remember there's not a lot of weight on your hands. They're there sort of for support, but your legs are doing the work. We shift the hips back and bend the knee. And Couple more times, shifting back and bending, shifting back and bending. Pause here, lower the back knee down, walk your hands up, stretch your arms up. We'll take an open arm twist to the right. Bring both hands forward, take your right arm back, and start to twist your spine. Let's come back to low lunge. Reach up. We'll do that 2 more times. Right arm goes down and back. Notice if your right shoulder's lifting up. Try to relax the right shoulder. And then back up. And once more. Great. Bring your hands to the blocks. And we'll switch sides. Right knee down, left foot forward. Arrange your legs. Arrange your outfit. Hands to blocks. You know you can practice yoga in whatever you want. Isn't that amazing? You don't have to buy a fancy outfit. You can practice yoga in your sweatpants, your shorts, whatever you want. Probably not a pair of tight jeans, because it just wouldn't feel good. All right, let's lift the back knee up and then shift back and forward. Think of ease of movement and being fluid like water, right? Fluid like water. Bend the front knee, lower your back knee down, low lunge, reach up with your arms. And then we come into an open arm twist. Arms come forward, the left arm continues going back, twisting your spine, and then we reverse. 2 more times. And once more. Reach up, stretch up. And bring your hands down. Step back. We're going to come onto our backs. Take your legs in front of you. Just come to lie on your back. You can move the blocks off to the side. All right, we're on our back. So bend your knees and bring your feet flat on the ground. And then see how you feel. Can you feel your feet? Can you feel your back on the ground, the back of your head? We're going to do bridge pose today with robot arms, which I like doing. So you'll bend your elbows so that your palms face each other and your arms are hugging into the body. And then begin to sort of puff your chest up a bit and see if you could take your shoulder blades and move them closer to each other so that the chest is really puffing up. Feel your feet and start to push your feet down and the back of your arms down. Lift your hips up. Good, and take a couple breaths. I like to lift my toes so that I can feel my feet pushing. And then lower down. And take a breath. And come right back up. So anything on the ground is gently pushing down. The back of your head, back of your shoulders, so the back of the shoulder blades, back of your arms, your feet. And then when we come into this bridge pose, we want to use the muscles in your legs in your bum. The muscles in your bum are called glutes. There's 3 of them. 3 main muscles in the tush. Lift up. And lower down. And take a breath and relax. Got one more, okay? Robot arms. Start to feel your arms pushing down. Feel your feet. Lift up. And then the importance of breath. Breathing into the body. And lower down. Let everything settle here. Let your spine settle. Face and jaw. Let's just windshield wiper the knees a bit left and right. It's easing into your low back. And then we'll come to a resting shape today. So again, traditionally, Shavasana, your legs are nice and wide. Your arms are removed from the body, palms facing up, and the sternum is lifted. So if this doesn't feel good in your body, you could come to your side or your belly, or even come up to seated. And we just let the breath go. Allow yourself to feel supported. Very gently begin to deepen your breath, inviting your breath back into your body. Make some movement with your fingers and your toes. Roll your wrists and ankles. You could stretch your arms overhead, pointing your toes like a big good morning stretch. Gently draw your knees up to your chest. Maybe a gentle rocking here. We are coming up to seated. Sometimes it's nice to roll onto your side first. You could use your arm as a pillow if that feels good. Just take some breaths here. And then come on up to seated. A seated shape, right? So you could sit with your legs crossed. You could elevate your hips up on a block or bolster. And let's just sit for 1 minute. Let's just try to be still for 1 minute. Your palms could be down or up or in your lap. And gently bring your hands to your heart. Take a moment to feel your hands, feel your fingers, your finger pads. Namaste.